Hey guys, Sundown here. This is my chapter review to One Piece 900 Bad End Musical. Now this chapter was crazy. Like legit, I was so shook by what we got this chapter. It was so good, and especially coming off the back of the last chapter, which I thoroughly disliked. I had a lot of criticisms for, because I felt last chapter should have been exactly what this chapter was. You know, nothing. Well, it's not that nothing goes right. It's that a lot of things go to hell. A lot of things go badly wrong. And that's exactly what happened in this chapter. And I loved every second of it. Everything that could have possibly gone wrong went wrong. And I love this chapter. It was so well done. And I think the essence of it is that Oda didn't want to do it all in 899, but wanted it to happen in chapter 900, where everything was coming to like the climax. And he wanted it to happen on such a pivotal chapter. You know, 900 chapters, we're 100 chapters away from like a whole millennium essentially of chapters. So I really enjoyed this chapter, and let's get exactly into why I enjoyed this chapter so much. So we start this chapter on Fluffy Island. Big Mom eats the cake as Pero looks on through some binoculars, as well as Chiffon. She's looking on from the back of Beige. He's just flying. He's just strolling away on his he's got like some he's in his tank mode, so he's just like driving away. We see a flashback from Chiffon's perspective of how genuine a cook Sanji is, and we've seen this before. He wants Big Mom to smile and be happy once she's tasted his cooking, even though she's after his life. And even Chiffon even makes mention of this. She's like, "You're a madman. Like, why do you want her to be happy about eating your cake? You just want her to be satisfied so that you don't die." And he's like, No. I want her to be happy, and I want her to smile when she's eating my cake." He's too pure. We've seen this before, but that's his kind of thing as a cook. He wants to make people happy through his cooking. It doesn't matter who it is. So as we all expected, I'm pretty sure we all expected this, Big Mom falls back in sheer bliss once she's tasted the cake. The cake makes her cry tears of joy, and she's shaken to the core at how wonderful it tastes. But the main question here for me is, will she collapse? Will she fall unconscious once she's eaten her fill of the cake? Once she's completely eaten all she wants of the cake, will she become unconscious? Will she fall into an unconscious state? And this could play a very important part in the story. I can't stress how important that particular fact could be, or that particular occurrence could be in the future. Pero assumes the cake was still poisoned, but it didn't work on Big Mom. He just assumes she tanked through the poison. She proceeds to wolf down the cake at a demonic pace whilst Pero announces that today they've cancelled the apocalypse. You know, so I was like, bruh, he's announcing to the whole of Totland. He's like, yo, bruh, we're cool. Big Mom's like, she's loving this cake. Everyone's fine. So everyone, obviously on all islands, starts to celebrate, rejoicing that their lives are now without danger. For the time being, at least, until her next hunger pang comes, and then she realizes that she doesn't have anything on Sanji's level to eat. She's going to demolish everyone, but that's a story for another time. So they're all rejoicing, and they're happy that they're not going to die. All of the credit obviously goes to Pudding, who sits alone in the alleyway that Sanji left her in, hating the fact that everyone's grateful to her for making the cake, even though she knows it was Pudding. During this part, we must note a couple things. Pudding is indeed still on Cacao Island. She's alone, and no one knows where she is. I'm also very aware of how serious she looks. It's not really. It's a very serious look, but she looks very depressed, very guilty, almost as if she's done something she knows she'll regret. So I'm not too sure what to think of Pudding here. I'll come on to it by the end of this chapter. But Pudding's still a wild card, and that's a factor that's always been assumed. We then go to the Battle of Cacao Port, which is what I'm going to call the battle right outside Cacao Island, with Big Mom's fleet and the Straw Hats and the Sun Pirates. And here we have the Sun Pirates creating a path for the Straw Hats to get through the Big Mom fleet. Now the Sun Pirates are doing everything I'd hoped they would, punching holes into the I forgot what the part of the ship is called. I think it's beige. I don't know, but into basically punching holes into ships. And making life incredibly difficult for the Big Mom pirates and for the fleet of Big Mom. Luffy comments on how amazing Jinbei's friends are, a light-hearted moment immediately juxtaposed by the furiousness of Oven. I'd like to mention, actually, before we even talk about anything Oven did, I'd like to mention once again how much of a tank and an absolute beast Oven is. So far, this straight badass has put on so much. He's put so much more work into this whole arc than Smoothie has, and even Cracker. To be fair, Cracker, yeah, he had a good fight with Luffy, but Oven has been going in. Oven has been tanking damage. He's been going in, and he's not even earning the same paycheck as his siblings. So this guy he's an absolute monster, and I love Oven. Even though he's an antagonist right now, and he's a villain of sorts. He is a monster, and I really, really love Oven. So what he does is he walks out of a mirror that they just happen to pull up on Cacao Island, even though I'm pretty sure they've broken all mirrors on Cacao Island. It might be that last mirror that they had. He walks out of that mirror, I assume, saying Brûlé has found bullets which are effective against the Germa, and they'll be done in a matter of time. Now, that was chilling enough to hear, but we've also heard of those bullets before. The Big Mom Pirates did have those bullets engineered, and that's what they were going to use at the Red Wedding in this arc. So, whilst the Sun Pirates and Luffy kind of laugh and thank each other, and they're like, yeah, we're escaping, woohoo, Oven boils the sea. This must be an effect of like his awakening, you know, he can boil his surroundings essentially. So he boils over the sea, driving away with Datsume and the Sun Pirates. Obviously they can't hack the heat. They're not gonna, well, they can hack a certain amount of heat, but they can't survive in a boiling sea. That's not what they're capable of doing. So they're all swimming deeper where it's colder. And obviously this is the thing I realize here is what an absolute badass maneuver by Oven, because what this does is it leaves the Straw Hat crew in the middle of the Big Mom fleet with no backup, because all the mermen of the crew, all the fishermen of the crew with Datsume, they've all swum underneath, like as far as deep as they can go without burning. So the Straw Hats are up shit creek. So we then hear from Adenda and Mushi that the Queen Mama Chanter, the flagship of the Big Mom fleet and the Big Mom pirate crew, it's their flagship, it's their main ship, the ship where Big Mom would be if she was out on this expedition, is approaching Cacao Island. That ship is approaching Cacao Island. That's what we hear this chapter. So we then pull away to Big Mom again, who continues to absolutely demolish this cake. She's eating it quick time, and she seems to be going on a mad acid trip. Like, she is tripping balls right now. She's hallucinating big time, completely unaware of what's going on around her. I'm not even sure if the soldiers that that are kind of just walking in on her, marching in on her, I'm not even sure if they're actually there. I don't think they are. And with these hallucinations, they're borderline nightmares, to be fair. We see the Big Mom Pirates flagship enter the fray in the Battle of Cacao Port. So essentially we see Big Mom hallucinating, and then we get this small time skip, like this little strip of a panel that shows time passing. We've seen it before, and then we see the Queen Mama Chanter entering the fray. And it was at this point where I was dismayed, and I thought, oh shit, like you Straw Hats, you're absolutely screwed right now. It's just like, what the hell, bro? What do you do in this situation? So obviously the question was, where the hell did the Queen Mama Chanter just come out from? You know, where did she pop out from, bruh? But we were told it was on its way. So, you know, we have to kind of assume that it was going to be there. But so soon, I didn't fully anticipate that. How long has this review been so far? So 8 minutes. So I'm still good. So I knew the ship was going to be there, but so soon I wasn't prepared for that. And the Straw Hats, I knew in that situation I was like, shit, you guys are screwed right now. So during this nightmarish musical number, we see the fall of all major characters involved with the escape as of now. So the Germa and the Straw Hats. The Germa get riddled with holes due to these bullets engineered by the Big Mom Pirates. Holy crap, they are up shit creek right now. And there's this huge guy. I mean, we see all the Germa fall. We see Reiju, Yonji, Ichiji, and Niji. All of them are falling. I think Ichiji's the only one that stood, probably Reiju as well. And then there's this huge guy against them. He's really, really tall, like building tall. And his face is obscured by shadow. He's standing against the Germa, and he's holding a scythe. And while they're being shot, he's just stood there and he's holding a scythe in one hand, and he's got his other hand spread out. And I was just like, who the hell is this guy, and why is his face obscured? There has to be a reason for why his face was obscured. I don't see a reason why, to be fair. I mean, later on we see Snack and this other guy, their faces were obscured, but this guy in particular, I mean, like, Snack is commander level, so why was this guy's face obscured? And I just want to know who he is, because he looks freaking badass. I mean, any character who's huge with a big ass scythe, they're gonna be badass. So yeah, I really want to know who he is, and let me know if you guys know or think you know who he is, or may theorize on who he is. So Big Mom continues to hallucinate, remembering her 6th birthday where she cannibalized Mother Caramel and her fellow orphans. One of the theories this chapter was that Big Mom hallucinated the whole thing, the whole chapter, but I really, really, really doubt that. The whole point of this chapter was that Big Mom was on her acid trip and regaining her strength and power, and that's being juxtaposed with the fall of the Straw Hats and the failings of the protagonist and the fall of the Germa and everything like that. So I doubt this was all a hallucination. Maybe some elements of it, yeah. I mean, like, we see that clearly with Big Mom, but I doubt the rest of it was a hallucination with the Straw Hats and the Big Mom's fleet. And I think this also applies to the idea of this being a Luffy vision with his Kenbun Shoku no Haki. Nah, nothing like that. This isn't a vision. This happened, bro. Let's just keep it real. This happened. So we see the Germa flagship get heavily damaged. You know, the huge castle ship get heavily damaged. A huge explosion goes off, and we see some peons and minions getting absolutely destroyed. Judge seems to be on the ground, and he's almost definitely engaging in a fight against Snack and another obscured individual. The individual who looks like Snack, I think, is definitely Snack. He's got the same like round hat thing going on. It looks like a pudding. It looks like what's it called? A dumpling on his head. I think that's definitely Snack. So yeah, Judge he seems to be fighting against Snack and another individual who we have no idea who he is or what he can do. We then reach the crescendo of Big Mom's hallucinations with her flagship finally stopping right next to the Thousand Sunny. The Straw Hats are all in a mad panic, all too aware of the situation they're in. As Big Mom reaches this kind of enlightenment stage and she's got her arms outspread, the Straw Hats are blown to smithereens. Their ship engulfed in flames. Their flag damaged, floating alone in the water, and the chapter ends there. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell happened this chapter? The Straw Hats seemingly have just been decimated. Now, obviously, I was just like, wow. Like, I don't know what to think of this chapter, but just putting things, trying to, like, just mention a few things before I wrap up this review. I don't think, like I mentioned before, that this is a Big Mom hallucination, nor do I think it was Luffy seeing the future through his Kenbun Shoku no Haki. I thought that once a few chapters ago when Luffy was impaled by Katakuri's his trident, but I'm not going to make that same mistake again. I do, however, feel like if Pudding were to ever show her usefulness, this would have been the moment to really shine. If we were just shown the memories that she inserted into the minds of the Big Mom pirates, then this would make sense. This is what they all thought happened, but the Straw Hats actually escaped. Now, would I like it if that happened? Probably not so much, because the whole "it was a dream" trope, or it was just our memories were altered thing, that would lessen the impact of this chapter and render it useless, because in the end, the whole thing would just be summated as the Straw Hats tried to escape, and then the Straw Hats escaped. You could skip this chapter just because if it was just a hallucination or Luffy's vision or Pudding interfering with their memories, it would be a skippable chapter and it would lessen the impact of chapter 900. So if it was Pudding, I would really not like that, even though I think it would make sense. So even with Pudding, I don't think she really did anything, or I hope she didn't do anything. But then we come on to if it really did happen, what about Frankie's dream, of creating a ship which can brave and conquer the Grand Line, take on all these different beasties and monsters and things like that, and actually sail and completely conquer the Grand Line. Well, the reality of this situation is I don't know. Now, we do have to come back to the fact that the ship is made of atom wood, so I'm thinking maybe it's flame-proof. So maybe it's not as badly damaged as we think it is, but we'll have to come back to that in a bit. Now, people were also saying, could Nami have created a mirage? I doubt it. Even with the heat produced off of the boiling sea and, Nami's knowledge of how to use heat alongside the cold and then creating a mirage. I think heat is all you need for a mirage because of how things refract through the air. But I simply don't think that this would occur, because there are too many ships for Nami to have created a mirage, a global mirage for everyone to escape on the Sunny. Not everyone would see the mirage in Big Mom's fleet, at least not to my knowledge. I'm not a mirage expert, but I don't think that's how it works. I think it depends on the angle you're looking at a certain thing, and for a mirage to occur, it's not going to happen to everyone who's the ships they're covering a wide expanse at this moment in time. I don't think they would all see the same mirage. So I doubt it was Nami. Now, what else? At this moment in time, I don't know what to think, but this is why I was so critical of last chapter, like I mentioned before. But Oda has done me really well this chapter, and he's truly set this chapter up with last chapter. I think last chapter was deliberately made to look like everything was going well, only for shit to hit the fan and for the fan to start spinning at maximum capacity, spraying the shit all over the place. You know, that's what I think happened. That's what I think this chapter was designed to do in comparison to last chapter. You know, last chapter everything was smooth. This chapter everything is just being like muck spread. It's just disgusting, this chapter. So I really don't know. I really don't want this to be explained away by being an imagined or doctored event in Pudding's case. And I think the most likely scenario is that Big Mom will collapse after all the shit she's been through. The Big Mom flagship would power down, as well as all the other homies in Totland. The Straw Hat ship is made of atom wood, like I said before, so I think it's supposed to be flame-proof. So if the rest of the fleet is homie powered, as in the ships are homie based, or homie, if the ships are homies themselves in Big Mom's fleet, the Straw Hats could make a last desperate escape effort with the Big Mom crew helpless and just watching as the Straw Hats continue on their way. And now it would be a bittersweet win for the Straw Hats because they'd get what they came for, as in Sanji and the Poneglyph copies. But they'd also realize that they were at the mercy of their enemies with no response, and that they were literally at death's door and they could have been killed if things hadn't gone their way. So I think that could possibly happen. The second thing I think is that the Straw Hats, like another situation, is that the Straw Hats will be captured and they'll have hell to pay for it. Sorry about that, my phone's still not on silent. Yeah, so I think the Straw Hats could be captured and they'll have hell to pay for it. Or maybe, and I think maybe Big Mom will be merciful, softened by the acid trip that Sanji just sent her on. But that seems unlikely as well. We've seen Big Mom before in her merciful nature, and that's just not something that she's capable of. So the third thing is someone jumps into the fight. Someone interferes, and someone we've not seen, and just jumps in to raise hell, essentially, or to save the Straw Hats. So in other words, another party joins the war and saves the Straw Hat crew, or joins the battle. It's not really a war. Now, could it be the Mad Monka Rouge or Mad D Monka Rouge? He would have a genuine reason to jump back in and pop a few caps in Big Mom's ass, you know, seeing as he's already had a skirmish with them in the past. But I'm not too sure about whether he'd risk his life to go in and save Luffy. You know, he's a supernova, but that's really all they have in common. And he's seen Luffy before. He's probably entertained by Luffy, but he wouldn't really have much more of a reason to go in. Could the Marines pop up, ending this skirmish? Maybe, but I doubt the Big Mom pirates would care. And unless an admiral was present, or two admirals were present, would the Big Mom pirates really even give a shit that the Marines were there? I doubt it. So the Marines isn't really a possibility either, but the thing I'm trying to say is someone could pop up, someone powerful with a powerful crew, saving the Straw Hat Pirates. Now, that would be cool, but I'm not sure who would come and do it. So, yeah, amazing chapter, but I don't know what to think right now. This is literally my reaction to the chapter, and I've obviously got a little bit of a script and stuff like I always do, but a lot of this is just me ranting and raving about the chapter, because I enjoyed it so much. Now, let me know what you guys thought. You might not have liked it. Let me know what you thought. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know anything you guys thought of the chapter. Let me know what you thought of the review. And I will see you guys tomorrow with my Boku no Hero Academia review. So I'll see you guys then.